Hello my good people, you're welcome to the channel. How are you all doing? I want to believe you're fine. So today it is really a sad news, okay? Too bad that NCDC is still having lots of lapses, okay, in this their fight for corona. You know, it's quite unfortunate that we still hear this sort of petty news or lapses. Okay, you guys really need to listen to this. In fact, you need to watch this and listen to this from Dr. C Jr. That's the chairman of DAR Communications. That's the AIT boss's son. Okay, you know, he was tested of being positive, so now he is recounting his experience, and really he's exposing a lot that happened. He's exposing lots of lapses, you know, in this whole NCDC Kuru thing. Seriously, you know, after listening to him, after listening to the man, you know, I have two questions to ask. Number one, is the corona in Nigeria, the Nigerian corona, the same corona, you know, in the US and abroad? Is it the same type of corona that they have that Nigeria has? Number one. And the second question is, NCDC, are they really ready to fight corona? Are they really ready to fight corona? Anyway, I'm going to let you guys watch the video so that you can hear for yourselves, okay? But before then, I want to encourage you to please go ahead and support the channel by subscribing to the channel, and also please turn on the notification bell so that every time I upload a video on this channel, you will get notified. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please watch the video now.
Response on social media yesterday evening from the NCDC that, you know, they do not give results to patients, they send them to the states, who then give, well, first and foremost, that is a breach of doctor-patient confidentiality. I give my test to a doctor in confidence. How can you send my results to another third party? I mean, there are ethical questions, I think, around that. Particularly when third parties, so there are people in maybe Ministry of the FCD or FCDA who have my test results. The patients don't have it. I think it's something that certainly the authorities have to look at and reconsider as far as their policies are concerned. We have over 5,000 cases of COVID here in Nigeria. I think it is high time for our doctors, our researchers, and our the various agencies responsible to start doing some primary research based on what it is that we are experiencing here. The index case of COVID in Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, was the Italian who came in. I think that Absolutely. Was about 27th of February. So this is more than 2 months later. I have seen journals practically on a daily basis. New research is released abroad. How much research is actually released based on what we are seeing locally in Nigeria and what our response is locally in Nigeria? Mosquitoes transmit COVID. It's a question which abroad they have not been able to conclude. But then abroad they are dealing primarily with winter and with flu symptoms, which is the primary way through which these things are being transmitted. I think in Nigeria, in Africa, studies into things like is COVID transmissible via mosquito bites is much more important to us, and should definitely be looked at and looked into. I think there was even an incident where somebody, is it Federal Road Safety Corps, someone collapsed in Gwagwalada there. And the NCDC did not respond to him for 24 hours. He was just there on the road. And there's been scarcities of beds and all of that. And the key issue is, if there are 1,000 infected people with COVID, and you only have bed space for 100, and 20% of the 1,000 people need hospitalization or they have underlying conditions which necessitates that they come into a facility, does it make sense to fill the 100 beds that you have with completely asymptomatic patients when there are those who are out there who actually desperately need bed space? Desperately need that bed space and medical facilities. So that is one question that I was asking in saying all of this. The second aspect of it is that there are serious limitations and challenges with our testing. First and foremost, we do in Nigeria what we call the PCR. It's the most effective way of testing whether you are positive or negative. But when they do take the samples, that only lasts 24 hours before they are condemned. So there is a limitation to how many testing machines we have and how many tests we are able to do on a daily basis. Going by how long it takes, even from when you do your test to when you get your results, it's very obvious and very apparent that a lot of those test swabs will be useless by the time it is inputted into the machine. And for those that are not, after 3 or 4 days, even if you are negative and you remain in an environment where there are other people who are positive, fresh people are coming in, your chances of reinfection are still very high.
Exposure rate,
exposure rate is very high. So as soon as you test that you are negative, ideally you should be released. It's no good keeping me still there for another 4 or 5 days before I get to know my results, by which time I could be negative, but I may have been reinfected, and when I'm discharged, I'm positive again. So all these kinds of risks and issues definitely are areas in which I know the government is doing its best. I know everybody who I interacted with gave me assurances that they have ways of containing those issues. The alluvia that the retroviral drug that we are taking is supposed to limit how contagious we are when we go out and all of that. But notwithstanding, these are challenges which I thought needed to be flagged for decision makers who are there to make the right decisions, look at and take necessary action.
You were discharged on Saturday. Looking back from your experiences there at the treatment center and now, does it leave you with hope that Nigeria is on the right track to dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic?
It's a difficult question, to be honest with you. But I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical expert. There is a limitation to what I can say. What I can say for sure, and what I can say based on the my experience in the Gwagwalada Isolation Center, is that if you are ill and if you are positive and you are taking there, you are likely going to be treated very well. I cannot say whether my experience in Gwagwalada is representative of the experience of patients around the country. Certainly, you know, as I said, the lack of data, the lack of information, it raises a lot of questions and a lot of doubts as to whether COVID is really as dangerous as it is. We know that the pictures that we've seen from abroad, people on ventilators and all of that, that is definitely not our experience. At least based on what I have seen in Gwagwalada, that is not the experience. So is it as dangerous as it is abroad? These are questions, I think, for our researchers and our science communities and medical communities to answer.
That closely gets me to the next question, which is the issue of stigmatization. It was quite interesting that you came out openly, publicly, and said, yes, I have COVID-19. Your journey all through, a lot of Nigerians were following it till when you came out. Were you concerned at some point that because of the media reporting surrounding this thing and the flip side of it is the panic which it has created in the minds of the people, that you may be affected one way or the other? Probably you will come back to the office and your staff would not want to come close to you.
Well, to be honest, at the time when I was sending out the message, I was not expecting it to go viral.
Yeah.
Not that I minded. I had it at the back of my mind, and I think I also had communicated to you at some point that having sent this message now, it's only a matter of time until it is leaked and everybody gets to know about it. But my primary concern definitely was for those whom I have interacted with, whom I have been in close contact with, and trying to ensure that if we had not been aggressive enough in pushing NCDC to come and do tests here for us, for our staff, that now is the time essentially to really push very, very hard for that. We do work in the media. We are at the front line of exposure, and it cuts across board because Our reporters go into the streets, they come back into the offices, they report to their superiors. Superiors have meetings with management, management has meetings with board. So we are all exposed, and as far as I was concerned, the first and foremost thing was to ensure that our staff got properly tested, and whoever was in need had that. Speaking of stigmatization, I must say that since the news got out, I had an outpour. I was so humbled. I had an outpour of love and people calling me, sending me messages. I took screenshots at some point because I said I was going to send appreciation messages whenever I got out to every single person who contacted me, and I had 600 and something PDF pages of messages alone, over 3,000 messages from people, all walks of life, people who have been high up there in government, people who have worked with me, or just Uber drivers who have taken me and have my number, and it was really touching to be able to have that love and appreciation, and I believe that it was one of the things that kept my spirits very high and very strong. At a time which ordinarily should have been the lowest for me in my life. So I think Nigerians are generally good people, people who know you and who appreciate you, will definitely show you love. There is definitely the stigmatization. I do recall, even whilst I was in the Gwagwalada facility, the yard in which they said we can walk around, essentially because it's new, it's still a construction site. There were all sorts of nails and other things there, and I didn't feel it was safe for my children to run out and play. So just in front of that, there was a car park which is not used. And I said, okay, instead of playing in that yard where there are nails and everything, let's walk around and play in the car park, in the forecourt. And you would have people from the security kind of approach us there to say, you're not supposed to go beyond this line. You know,
so you felt, at that point, you felt a sense of restriction.
Of course,
as far as the freedom is concerned,
of course, because I felt, first and foremost, I'm not approaching you people. You coming to meet me here, you're the one putting yourself in danger. Secondly, I've reliably been informed that the reason why there are no cars here essentially is because patients and everybody are brought in through here to come in. So if I am a patient and patients come through here, patients move within this area. Yeah. Whether it is only for them to come in or whether I cannot come out, how does it concern you that you're on the other side of this car park? Why are you coming to meet me to stigmatize me that I should be constrained to one particular area? My kids are not animals that you just tie in a cage and say they should not come out of their rooms the whole day. Besides, I also need a little bit of movement. I need a little bit of exercise. Yes. So there's a little bit of that, and I'm sure it will be interesting. I'm yet to find out. Since I've come in, I've not gone anywhere. But
so we'll wait for the social experiment to continue.
If by this evening I don't get phone calls from my friends inviting me for a drink of pepper soup, I will know that the stigmatization is real.
Raymond, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. It's really exhilarating, and we hope this also helps people to see the reality of the COVID-19. It's not really a death sentence, as a lot of people have perceived it to be. A lot of people are recovering. He has recovered. Members of his family have recovered as well, and more are recovering. And once again, congratulations for having you back here.
Thank you so much.
So that's the video, my people. After listening to this video, what do you guys think about Corona in Nigeria and the way it's being handled by the federal government, the NCDC? I really want to know what you guys think about it. Please feel free to share in the comment section your opinions and thoughts about it. All right, in the comment section below. And like I earlier said, do not forget to support the channel by subscribing to the channel, and also please turn on the notification bell, like and share this video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.